Securing the cloud already takes a lot of effort for IT departments. Little time remains to discover emerging business applications. Weak credentials and unknown identities are created every minute without IT oversight. Scirge discovers login attempts via a light browser extension. Breached or reused passwords and unwanted applications are flagged based on your policies. Automations notify operators, and users are educated and notified as well. Detailed inventories are built for identity management, compliance, and to help reduce shadow IT overhead. Scirge, shedding light on shadow IT.
Hi and welcome to this Scirge demo. My name is Daniel Onjal. I'm the co-founder of Scirge, and today I'll show you how to shed light on shadow IT. Now, you've seen from the previous intro video why shadow IT and cloud visibility is so important, and now I'll show you how we do it and what is the type of visibility that Scirge can provide to your organization. So let's jump in. First of all, how do we do it? Well, Scirge operates with a browser extension. This is our endpoint agent, and the reason why we do that is it allows us to bring in so much more detail and context about apps and accounts when compared to CASB solutions and cloud security tools that rely on pure network traffic or pure cloud-based logs or pure endpoint logs. This way, we can identify all sorts of applications from your browser. We can identify SSO and email-based accounts, and we can do password hygiene. We can discover when people enter their corporate passwords in their browser, when they keep reusing the same account and passwords, or they share it, even when they save their credentials in their browser, which led to some nasty breaches in the past, and it's also a bad habit. So let's start by application visibility. We call this shadow IT visibility for any cloud application, any SaaS application. In fact, it can be local tools as well that run in your browser, which was the case for Microsoft when they got breached using a legacy tenant of some kind at the end of 23. So the application inventory that we built is without relying on any sort of database that we use. These are all accounts and applications that were accessed using some sort of a corporate account that we defined in our policies. So we can tag them based on their profiles, such as AI applications, sanctioned applications, HR, etc. So we can better elaborate who or which business department is utilizing them, whether they should go under more scrutiny for compliance, etc. We can see how many accounts have been created, how many people rely on them, and we provide an OSINT profile from these applications. So smtp2go.com, it seems like a legit application with a high trust score, not on any block lists, and the domain has been around for a long time. We provide some links to privacy policies and TNCs if we can find them, social links as well, in case if something pops up on your radar that you're not immediately aware of about their purpose, for example. And we show some indicators about usage, whether it's trending in your organization, a new platform pops up, many users begin to use it, perhaps it's a paid service, perhaps it's something that you'd like to investigate before it becomes an overhead, excessive costs emerge, or perhaps it's a duplicate of an application that you're already sanctioned, but some of your users are not aware of. Now, there's a lot of indicators that we provide if application seems to be a little bit suspicious about domain age, whether they don't have a correct SSL certificate, whether they are missing some legal information, and I will show you an example about that in a second. This domain, it runs on a fresh domain, scov-dk.com. It's untrusted, zero trust score. It's certainly not legit. Actually, the root domain redirects to Wikipedia. And by the way, it was part of a phishing campaign that I received via an email just a few weeks ago at the end of last year. And obviously, I clicked really quickly so I can show you guys that even utilize Cloudflare to confirm that I'm not sort of a crawler or a proxy trying to identify the link. The original link redirected me to scov-dk, and this site actually imitated our corporate login page pretty well. And of course, I didn't log in here with real credentials, but I use it for testing because now Scirge captured it. And if it was a real attack with real credentials, we could have captured it immediately. You see, I used test@scirgedemo.com. It was tagged as suspicious phishing because I ran this account on a suspicious domain that was recently registered. Now, this is an example for the type of correlations we can use based on the account information and the app intelligence that we collect. And it's only possible because we run a browser extension. And by the way, extensions can be deployed into Chrome, Edge, and Firefox in any Chromium browsers. I'm running in a Brave right now, and there's a lot of options for deployment. We have all sorts of guides and documentation for that. But basically, whether you're running a Mac, Linux, Windows environment, you're going to be able to deploy them in an enterprise manner. It's a very light agent, and the browser extension also runs in a sandbox, which is the browser. So you will have very little chances of colluding with existing business applications, which is also a great advantage of this architecture. Now, the next level of inventory that we build is for accounts. But let me show you how we do it. So let's say I'm logging into smtp.com, and look, I already have an account saved in my browser for this site, and this is just for showcase. There's not a real account, but it doesn't stop us from detecting this login attempt. And in a second, you'll be able to see that this account has been used a couple of times. Let me just look up SMTP to go real quick, make it faster. All right. This account has been autofilled, and also the autofill did not come from some sort of a third-party password manager, but my browser. It's a really strong password, but saved in the browser. It's not a good sign, right? Now, sometimes it can be immediately breached. We check that based on password hashes, or it can be passwords that are reused from your LDAP, or passwords reused from OpenID, such as Entra or other corporate identity providers that you may have. And it's the primary way how businesses get breached without a lot of hacking. If you give away your business passwords on third-party applications and websites and SaaS solutions, you no longer have control over when and how it's going to get stolen. And they will allow attackers to start utilizing these known valid business credentials against brute force attacks, VPNs, remote access, other SaaS solutions. Even if you have another factor in place, there's other methods to get around them as well. So what we do is evaluate every single login attempt. First of all, we take a look whether this email matches our policy. This is our business domain, so it does. In this case, of course, you can choose to monitor every single domain if you're in a sensitive business and you have the legal basis for that, or you can choose to only monitor business-related domains. Now, we never ever collect clear text passwords, but we do evaluate them in their clear text format right here in the browser. So let's suppose that you have entered a password with, such as password 123 is going to evaluate as very weak. You can also define your own password complexity rules and set password expiration for all these third-party external services where normally you'd have no visibility of what type of credentials are being used. Now, optionally, we can collect the hashes for these passwords, which allows us to correlate for password reuse. When there's a password that's been reused multiple times, we can identify which services share the same password, Tranquillizer and SMTP to go in for this account, some government service, and a lot of other services in this case. So you can make these correlations, discover them, but most importantly, you can take action and notify employees or make some automation in case it was a corporate password that was used. So right here in this case, which I just showed, this was a corporate password saved in the browser because it matched our LDAP password and it was autofilled from the browser. So this is an easy correlation to make. There's some description about it. And it's obviously a really bad case because these accounts from the browser get synced to personal devices. Also, malware can easily extract these in pretty much a clear text format if they have access to any one of your devices with these saved accounts. So you should probably get rid of those or replace these corporate passwords for these employees. Now, we also have a lot of other indicators such as shared account, in case multiple people are utilizing the same exact account, which in case, let's say if it's ordering pizza for the office, not a big deal, but if it's a financial service perhaps, if it's regarding PII data, anything sensitive or critical, perhaps something within your IT development environments, you really want to take care of separation of duties. So account sharing is generally not a great idea and goes against many regulations as well. Of course, you can also take a look at these inventories from the individual's perspective, which leads into cloud identity management. So these are our users, which all have very weak and breached password in this demo. Hopefully it's not the same for you. And when we take a look at their personal insight view, we can enumerate every single account that they have ever accessed within their lifetime at the company with a corporate email address or with a single sign-on if you're monitoring Google, Microsoft, Facebook, GitHub, all sorts of identity providers. You can add your own if you have something custom made. And you can take a look at what are the applications that they have accessed from the organization. When they leave the company, this is a major issue because all you can do is revoke centrally managed SSO accounts. Nothing that they have created with their private accounts or based on email will be available for you to manage. And for those sensitive applications and accounts, you'd like to take care of them because they did not do it in a bad faith. It's just that you need to remove accounts and user rights when sensitive employees with sensitive access leave the organization. So this is how you can enhance your identity management posture with third-party tools, third-party SaaS solutions, your technology suppliers. This is pretty much your attack surface, if you think about it, because a lot of your business processes and a lot of your data is shared with third-party cloud services and all sorts of suppliers. This is true for IT, for marketing, for HR. It's pretty much independent from the business unit or the type of business that you're in. Now, this allows us to build a multi-level inventory about the accounts, about the applications, and about the people and the profile of those people that we're monitoring within your organization. But what do we do with all of this data? It could be, in a regular case, thousands of different accounts and applications. This is just my personal device, already hundreds of accounts and applications. Here, this is our experience. In the first month or so, we immediately discover up to 10, 20 accounts per employee, right? So how can we automate this? Well, first of all, we can create workflows. And I'll show you the previous example about Scirge. It's a great use case. If someone seems to have fallen victim to a phishing attack because they gave away their corporate credential on an application with a fresh domain age, for example, where it can be almost certain that it was a phishing attack. So now what we need to do is, first of all, get rid of that corporate account. So maybe send a syslog or an API call somewhere. You can custom define these yourself to trigger an LDAP reset, password reset. Or if you're a smaller organization with no such tools in place, just let your security department or IT manager know about it, and they can warn the employees. And of course, you can immediately, directly send a notification to that person involved, especially if it's something not that critical, right? If you have a weak or a breach password, just in general, for someone, you probably don't want to wake up the CISO for that, right? So just send them an email. Let them know there's something wrong. You can create templates with a very nice explanation using variables that will explain to them which email was used, which application was used, what's wrong with it, what's your policy, how he can get help. And they will only receive this notification if it's relevant to you, if you think it's critical, and they should be notified about it. But there's another method which we call a personal dashboard, which allows them to take a look at all of their accounts and all of their sort of tickets that we create on a dashboard. Now you can customize it to your corporate profile, and this is based on clicking on the browser extension or visiting this URL that you can send via email as well. And then me, in this case, I'm Euclid. I can take a look at all of the accounts and apps that I have accessed. This helps me create a strong password. And also, IT, you can create different type of tickets, accounts needing password change. Some of them may be weak, some of them may be breached. As an average user, I might not care that much. I just need to know that these are the accounts where I need to replace the password, how I should do that, what's your policy, etc. If I'm unable, I can even send a message to let your IT know that there's something wrong or I need some more support. So it allows us to communicate with security departments as well. In case my corporate, maybe AD or Entra password has been breached, I can also be warned right here. Accounts that were saved in the browser, applications that you manually tagged as unwanted or perhaps abandoned, or legacy applications, accounts that I haven't used for a long time. It's so many aspects of shadow IT that we can warn our employees about. It just depends on what you like to do. These are completely custom, and obviously this is just a showcase of the different possibilities, or just provide them a list with every single account that they use, so your devs know where they have already signed up, what was that nice tool that they used 6 months ago that they forgot about. They can look it up right here. This is the personal dashboard, right? And of course, you can integrate via API or syslog if you're a big organization. If you already have an SOC, you have SIEMs in place, you have orchestration tools in place, you don't need to rely on these emails and dashboards at all. For the most critical events, you probably want to set up some automation. So in that case, you can set up an API call. It's customizable. Teams and Slack is just for demo purposes, but you can create your own API calls towards your ticketing service, or you can just send everything in syslog and then utilize existing tools to generate notifications or make correlations, or perhaps do things like reset LDAP password, isolate clients, revoke some sort of access rights, etc., etc. This is how you can automate everything. But most of it is education. For email-based accounts, there's not a lot that you can do directly because it lacks any integrations. That's just the nature of shadow IT. However, you need to be aware of it. You need to have inventories, because this allows you to investigate, and this allows you to take steps once someone leaves the organization or just changes roles and there are some sensitive access rights remaining. You don't want them just floating around out there with sensitive credentials, tokens, data out in third parties and your suppliers. This is how to gain control of your cloud footprint and to shed light on shadow IT. And one last thing, we can create an immediate inventory using our discovery method. Discovery is a unique capability that does not rely on the browser extension, but on a login script, or a script that you can run as a login script or run in other forms at the browser at the endpoints. And if you do that, what it will provide is collect the historic browsing history and a little bit of keywords, statistics, and machine-based scoring will allow us to discover potential applications. So I'll show you a result. It will make more sense that way. If you visit an application and log in, the URL will have parameters such as login, sign up, register, that will tell us that it's likely an application. And also beyond the browsing history, we can collect the saved accounts from your browser. We do not collect the passwords, but the emails and the URLs. So we can immediately see exact accounts based on the business domains that you define in that policy. You can push them into the inventory and say discovery accounts. These were all saved in the browser, and you don't need to wait for people to log into their browser. You can just go straight to this discovery and create a one-day audit and collect all the accounts that were saved, which will in turn enumerate a list of applications as well that have been utilized by your employees and your colleagues. So this discovery result is really powerful because it's immediate. You don't need a browser extension. You do need to run a script, but it will give you a very, very decent list of potential applications and a very exact list of accounts already saved in business browsers. This is a good sign that something has to be done if you find a lot of these sensitive accounts saved in the browsers. This can be part of a POC as well, but of course, we provide a browser extension for you for a demo, a trial, or a POC. Let us know if you're interested. And thanks for watching. And one last thought before I leave. We obviously have a very nice dashboard, a lot of reports that you can create, a lot of built-in reports. This is where we started. I'll finish here. You can customize these widgets, and you can take a look at historic data. So you started to get rid of breached password via education. You can compare versus the previous period. So you can find out about the return on your investment, how effective your campaigns are. You can show this to your management that this was an actual security solution that can create measurable results. And you can anonymize these reports and everything here. There's a lot of small details that we skip for the purpose of this demo. If you have any questions, reach out, hello@scirge.com. We're happy to talk. So thanks you again for watching. This was Daniel from Scirge. Have a nice rest of your day.